I am JC Yung po and I am from PSE 1 po. And tanong ko lang po, pwede po kayong ma-survey.
Ano na?
Is it okay po if we record?
Yes.
Bali, my question is, what is your thought about this image po?
I think it's very apt sa ano natin, sa status sa society natin ngayon. Dahil actually, kakita ko lang ng parang imbalance talaga sa salary tsaka sa qualifications na hinahanap para sa isang trabahador. Kasi example, sa panaderya na binibilang ko palagi ng syempre tinapay. May nakapaskil doon, naghahanap sila ng kahera, simpleng kahera. Ang qualification pa naman is kailangan graduate ka ng accountancy. Which is, yes, connected naman siya, pero like, kahera lang sa isang panaderya na maliit. Tapos, yung hardship, di ba? Hindi siya imbalance ng hardship ng mga blue-collar workers, salary na nabibigay nila. Katulad ng mga trabahador, ng mga mga community service workers natin, napakaliliit ang sahod nila. Kahit sila yung may talagang inaambag na immediate sa sa sangkatauhang na tumitira sa kung sino anumang bayan yung tinitirahan natin. Kaya totoong malungkot siyang isipin na ganito nga talaga yung nangyayari talaga, na imbalance talaga yung qualifications, yung difficulty ng job sa salary na kukuha ng mga workers na yon. And if it's up to me, I would diba? Gagawa ko ng solusyon na agad, dyan agad, to proper parang bills, proper laws. Pero kaya kasi naging ganyan nga kasi sinuserve nila yung mga naghaharing lipi, 'di ba? Yung mga kapitalista. Since mas mababa yung nila, yung kailangan nilang salary, mas marami silang ma-hire. So mas mababa yung kailangan nilang cost for the work na dapat naman talaga sinusustentuhan nila o kina-compensate nila ng mas mataas. So yeah, talaga siya. It's a manifestation of a deeper problem. Simptomas lang siya ng deeper problem. At di mo siya basta-basta masusolusyonan na lang, itaas yung sahod. Dahil mas marami pang factors and nuances at play para mangyari na maitaas yung sahod. Kasi kung itataas mo lang yung sahod, paano naman yung nuances, yung businesses, kasi lingit naman sa kaalaman natin na sinusunod ng ating gobyerno yung mga kapitalista. So, it all, ang punot dulo niyan is our system talaga. So yeah, malalim siyang problema.
Thank you po.
So, good morning po. Pwede po ba kayo ma-interview po?
Yes, go po.
With video po. So, ito po yung, may papakita lang po akong picture and kung ano lang po yung thoughts nyo about this po.
Dito, ang napapansin ko is dito yung sa qualification ng isang tao, then dito yung sa salary nila. Like, for the example is about farmers, yung ganun level yung trabaho nila or ganun yung quality nila, then yung salary nila is mababa. Then unlike sa iba na kapag kunwari sa company, ganito, sa company ka nag-work, yung salary nila mataas, which is yung mga nasa lower, binibigyan lang nila ng mababa, which is hindi naman din deserve kasi kailangan naman pantay-pantay tayo. And yun po.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Hi po, I'm Sophia Malacabo from SB1. Tatanong lang po sa timbangan, tapos meron pera sa left side, and then
have high standards or qualifications for hiring employees. Companies in the Philippines have high standards when hiring employees due to several factors. One of the main reasons is the emphasis on competencies rather than just educational qualifications. Companies are encouraged to consider the actual job requirements and the tasks involved, which can lead to a more thorough screening process that goes beyond checking for college degrees. This approach aims to ensure that employees have the necessary skills to perform their roles effectively. Another reason for high hiring standards is the desire to hire K-12 graduates who are intended to be employable upon graduation. However, there is a mindset that a college degree is necessary for full employment readiness. This mindset is being challenged as the K-12 program aims to produce holistic Filipinos who can start working immediately after graduation. Despite these efforts, companies are still hesitant to hire K-12 graduates, and many senior high school graduates remain unqualified for certain jobs. This hesitation is due to the need of proof of concept from schools that their graduates are indeed employable. The labor market in the Philippines is also influenced by cultural factors such as the value placed on loyalty and strong personal relationships in the workplace. This cultural aspect can impact the hiring process and the types of employees the companies are willing to hire. In summary, the high standards in hiring in the Philippines are a combination of a focus on competencies, the transition to hiring K-12 graduates, and the cultural values that influence workplace dynamics. Companies are encouraged to review their hiring processes to align with these factors and adapt the changing labor market.
Here are some employment issues that need to be addressed. First, year of experience. Even if you are a graduate, if you don't have experience to job you decide for 3 to 5 years, they will not hire you even if you are capable for that job. 2. Unrealistic educational qualification. A company hires people who must graduate from the job are you applying before they hire you. Age discrimination. A job is based on person's age. They don't accept a person if they are over the age limit they are looking for. 4. Gender discrimination. There are jobs that are based on person's gender. Because of their gender, their abilities are judged. They also a 20.9% salary gap. And here's some recommendation of possible solutions to address this issue. First, reducing occupational mobility. Retaining that can gain new knowledge or skills to get you into your desired job. 2. Continuous learning and upskilling. Through the program, they need to learn how to develop their employment skills. 3. Promote transparency. It is necessary to always clearly define job responsibility. This is necessary to describe them properly so as not to get confused. Public awareness. It is not necessary to publicize unreasonable job requirements, promote fair hiring, or employments based on their abilities.
Some skeptics still think that outsourcing to the country is not for cheap labor, which is far from the case. This is because the Philippines is still a developing country with a low cost of living and expenses. To start, let's take a look at average salary in the Philippines and what affects people's wages in this article. According to the OECD, the average annual salary in the Philippines is 539,785 pesos, 48 cents, or $9,528, which totals to 44,979.63 cents monthly, while the average median salary is estimated to be 20,583 monthly. Salaries vary based on location, industry, and skills, as there is no national minimum wage. The country follows a two-tiered wage system, which includes a mandatory minimum wage. Tier 1, system based on Republic Act 6727 or the Wage Rationalization Act, and a voluntary productivity-based wage system. Tier 2, this system aims to balance worker needs with employers' ability to pay considering factors like inflation, poverty, and cost of living, with the goal of creating equitable wage structures across regions.
There are several factors that could affect an employee's salary. First is the vocational background. Employers often require at least bachelor's degree, as degree holders typically earn higher starting salaries. According to Indeed, a degree holder's average starting salary is 16,379. Second is regional rates. The Philippines set a specific wage rate per region, causing employees' salary to differ from national average. Regional rates can significantly impact the average salary in the Philippines. Third is cost of living. Cost of living in the Philippines is on average of 56.3% lower than in the United States. Metro Manila is said to be the third most expensive city in Asia to live in. Yet, the cost of living in the capital still has much lower than most developed cities across the world. Third is industry. Different industry in the Philippines offer different pay scales for their employees depending on their work. During pandemic, a lot of companies offered a pay raises and cuts according to JobStreet salary report of 2022. Last factor is collective bargaining agreement or CBA. According to the last quarter of 2021 labor organization statistic issued by Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE, there are around 18,034 unions registered in the country. 54% are under national unions, while 43 of them are registered as independent. These CBAs help ensure that employees are paid well and taken care of by a business, depending on their industry needs.
Bonuses, incentives, and allowances. Employers in the Philippines value the welfare of their employees alike. They understand the country's tradition and living situation, especially during the Christmas holidays. Bonuses and incentives may vary per industry and institution. Government institutions provide generous performance-based incentives and allowances as recognition of employees' service to the country. Meanwhile, most private companies offer a mandatory 13-month pay in addition to Christmas bonuses and other allowances of their workers.
The unemployment rate in the Philippines dropped to 3.7% in September 2024 from 4.5% in the same month last year. The number of unemployed persons declined to 1.89 million from 2.26 million in September 2023, while employment increased to 49.87 million from 47.67 million in the previous year. Across broad industry groups, the services sector remained the largest employer, representing 62.8% of the workforce. The agriculture sector accounted for 19.9%, while the industry comprised 17.5% of total employment. By subsectors, the largest job gains were seen in administrative and support service activities, plus 735,000. Other service activities, plus 559,000. Wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles, plus 486,000. Public administration and defense, compulsory social security, plus 333,000, and manufacturing, plus 200,000. Meanwhile, the labor force participation rate rose to 65.7% in September from 64.1% in the corresponding month a year ago.
OFWs. The Philippines hold the title of being the #1 country in labor exportation. The Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA estimate that 10% of the population works overseas. According to the PSA, April to September 2022 alone, there were an estimated 1.96 million OFWs, an increase of 7.6% in the same period of 2021. The same PSA report also stated that the majority of the OFWs were female, 57.8%. This confirms the phenomenon of feminization of migration in the 1990s, when the trend was the immigration of a lot of women from the service sector, particularly domestic helpers who became officially known as household service workers, SSWs. You can just imagine that in 1972, there were only 14,366 overseas contract workers, or CWS. By 1975, when the Marcos Sr. administration started its overseas employment program, the number ballooned to 36,035 OCWs.
Does having a high level of job qualification serve as a guiding force that unlocks an employee's true potential? Or does it become an obstacle that stifles their abilities? We all know and are aware of the Filipino quote, "Lamang ang may alam." This is probably one of the many reasons why the level of education is one of the things that HR looks at when hiring an employee. It is their standard to base whether you are qualified or not. What do you think? Doesn't this sound like bias? And does it not seem to show equality? Well, if you ask me, yeah, it's bias and doesn't show equality. Especially to those micro businesses with high standards in a way that the requirements given do not align with the job offered, or other requirements or qualification are irrelevant in the job offered. Because of the information given by my groupmates, I am now aware of what is the reason why business set a high and unnecessary qualification. Despite this, it can also be a barrier to applicants who have sufficient skills but do not meet the high qualifications shown by businesses. Because of that, job seekers here in the Philippines often prefer business process outsourcing or BPO companies due to competitive salaries and benefits that meet their needs. Many foreign BPO firms hire a significant number of Filipinos as the currency advantage is beneficial. Additionally, many Filipinos become overseas foreign workers or OFWs to escape poverty, taking risk for better wages aligned with their qualifications.
Adjusting job qualification in the Philippines is essential for promoting a more inclusive and adaptable labor market.
By shifting the focus from rigid educational and experience requirements to skill-based criteria, inclusive practices, and flexibility, we can create greater opportunities for diverse range of job seekers.
This approach will not only help workers to find meaningful employment, but will also enable employers to access talent, fostering growth and innovation across the economy.